Alright guys, so there she is. It is, as you can see, a Ford. Some of you may have guessed it in the last video when we talked about getting rid of the Jeep Gladiator Mojave and what we'd be getting next. I gave you a couple of ideas of what I may be getting, and a couple of you did guess the Ford. This is a 2022 Ranger XLT with the Tremor package. So I'll do a quick walk around on it, and then I'll kind of go over the features that you get with the Tremor package and what it entails, what makes it different than in other Ford Rangers, and then we go over like pricing, why I did it, why I got rid of the Jeep. Quick walk around. You can see the truck here, and like I said, this is the Ranger Tremor. You can get the Tremor package on the XLT, which is what this is, and you can also get it on the Lariat. Lariat's going to cost you more money, but you're going to get a few more bells and whistles, so it really depends on what's important to you and your budget. The XLT is not a budget truck. The XL would be. The XLT is kind of like a mid-grade trim, and then the Lariat's more of a higher end trim. That's how it works on the Rangers. So you'll see here, starting off on the front, when you get a Tremor package, you get a unique grille. It's kind of like a 2-bar design, and then you get the red. They actually call them red nostrils, or I don't know. That's the terminology that Ford uses. It's definitely a nice look. I don't know why they call them nostrils, but it's got a nice aggressive look to it. It adds a little bit of accent, which is always nice, and a little bit of something different. One thing we are going to do is get rid of this ugly chrome and blue Ford emblem. It just doesn't go with the rest of the theme of the truck. So the only thing chrome in the whole truck is the Ford emblem. This one and the one on the tailgate, which stands out ridiculously. So Ford actually sells blacked out ones. Then you can also get some custom ones I've seen out there with like black, matte black with the American flag on them. Maybe we'll do something like that in the front, and then maybe do like the traditional Ford emblem in the back, just blacked out. I don't know yet. Then the other thing that's a theme here on the Tremor is this color gray you'll get on all the trim. So this is Oxford white, and it contrasts great with this trim. So you get this color trim here around the grille and the lower bumpers, and then the fender flares. That's the color trim you're going to get. The wheels are also matching. The wheel color matches the trim. So you'll see here on the fender flares, they do stick out more from the body than the traditional Ranger, say FX4 fender flares or standard XLT. And that is because this truck has a 1-inch wider track width, so they give you a little bit wider of a fender flare, and the track width is wider based on the wheel offset. The wheel offset's a little more aggressive than a standard Ranger. So moving on here to the front, let's go down the side here. Next thing you see obviously is the wheel and tire package is much more aggressive. You get a 32-inch General Grabber ATX tire. So the actual size is a 265/70 R17, and then you get these unique to the Tremor wheels, which in my opinion is a very nice factory wheel. While we're here, we'll go over the front suspension. So unique to the Tremor, you get a 0.88-inch lift in the front, and as you can see there, that's a Fox 2.0 coilover in the front. So that gives you a little bit of a lift and much better suspension handling for off-road situations. The other difference too with the Tremor is you'll see the knuckle here is a cast iron knuckle. On the traditional Ford Ranger, standard Ford Ranger I should say, you're going to get an aluminum knuckle. On the Tremor package, it gets upgraded to a cast iron knuckle, and that's just for aggressive off-road riding. You have less chance of bending them. They're a little more sturdy than a lightweight aluminum. Going down the side, these step bars are unique to the Tremor. Not sure how I feel about them yet. I will say they work great as a step. There's a nice big footbed there for you to get in and out of the truck. You can get your foot up there on there comfortably without worried about missing it and smashing your shin on it. And getting in the truck works great. Kids like them. Moving to the back, obviously, wheel and tires in the back here. Then you'll have your Fox suspension in the back. You can see in the back Different than the front, you get the piggyback reservoirs. These are still 2.0 Fox internal bypass shocks, but you get a piggyback reservoir on them. And then you get a different leaf spring pack on the Tremor package. The standard Ranger, you get it's like a single leaf spring that's tapered. What they did with the Tremor package is so you get more articulation off-road is you have a multi-leaf pack. That'll give you more suspension travel in the rear. And it is up from the standard Ranger according to Ford. I don't know the specs, but it is up a couple inches of suspension travel you get increased. Now, and that's due to likely obviously the shocks, but the different leaf pack they had. You do get an overload spring in there. And one thing that's nice about the Ford leaf spring pack is some other manufacturers don't really do this, but you'll see they got the silencer pads in between them. So you're not gonna have to worry about them squeaking, when they get a little dirty. It keeps a little bit of space between the leaves, and you're not going to have to worry about them rubbing together and making noise like you do some other manufacturers. So pretty quality. You get a full-size spare. All right, and then obviously moving up side of the bed, you get the Tremor decal. Another thing you do get with the Tremor package, which I missed actually in the front, is underneath the front you get a big solid steel skid plate. You get multiple skid plates, but this is the most obvious one. It goes all the way up, goes all the way under the engine. It is steel, so that'll protect, your radiator support, your radiator, your intercooler, bottom of your engine, all that stuff. Give you a quick shot of the overall side stance of the truck. To me, it's a very nice looking truck, very nice aggressive stance. I love the Oxford white, the way it pops with the trim and the wheels and tires. It's got a nice contrast, the little red accents in the front, and the grille really make it pop. Now, you do have quite a bit of rake on the truck still, even with the 0.88 inch front lift. I can add another inch lift. There's companies that make a 1 inch spacer that works with the Tremors. That'll bring you up 1 more inch in the front. Really, in my opinion, makes it look really good. The way it probably should have come, but you still retain about 1.5 inch rake, so that when you do load the bed, you're not going to be sagging at that point. You still got some rake left. You want to keep some rake for if you're using your truck as a truck and you're hauling stuff with it. You're not going to be sagging in the back. Now, that leads me to, I guess we can get into capacities. One of the reasons I went with the Ranger is because of the tow capacity. The payload capacity is significantly up from, say, a Toyota Tacoma, TRD Offroad, or even the Gladiator Mojave I had, which wasn't bad. It was about 6,000 pounds, I believe it was, the tow rating, and about 1,100 pounds payload. This is 1,500 pounds of payload and 7,500 pounds towing. And I will tell you, I've seen tons of reviews on people towing over that. There's a guy, I found a video on YouTube stumbled across. This guy was towing 9,000 pounds with his Tremor Ranger, or with his Ranger Tremor, and he didn't even have a trailer brake controller installed, nothing, and he said it towed no problems. Obviously, if you're towing that kind of weight, you should probably be in a half-ton truck anyway, but he did it. So if it can do that, I'll have no problems towing my 4,000 to 4,500 pounds for my side-by-sides and my ATVs. The bed is also a nice little upgrade here. The bed capacity, I should say, over the Tacoma, and particularly, and the Jeep Gladiator Mojave I had. The downside of the Mojave bed was the way it was designed. You see where the tie-down points are in the front? Between the wheel wells here is 45 inches, so my Raptor 700 will fit right between there, no problem. And then the tie-down points are a nice, convenient location. You can still get to them. In the Gladiator, the tie-down points were on the wheel well right there. So when the Raptor was in the bed, it was actually wedged up against the tie-downs, and it was made it very difficult to get to them. And even when you got a ratchet strap on them, I had a couple instances where they actually popped off while driving because it really wasn't in there good enough because the tires were wedged up against it. So that made it a little bit awkward for loading. So, and this has got a much better setup. You can always add more tie downs as well, obviously. You'll see it doesn't have a bed liner, but I will be adding a Line X spray and bed liner to it. The other thing you do not get with with the Ranger is you don't get a dampened tailgate. Now some people are like a little spoiled these days, I think, and they're like, "Oh, how could you not get a dampened tailgate in this day and age?" Like everybody wants everything included standard nowadays, and still want to pay, you know, a low cost for a truck. So that's not real world. It's not the way it happens. So every manufacturer's got its things they give you and certain things they don't. You may think they're weird, but with the Ford, you don't get a dampened tailgate. I added one. It was $30. It took me 5 minutes to install. I'll show it to you. Unlock the truck here. You do get a locking tailgate. So if you hit the button on the remote, it'll lock the tailgate and unlock the tailgate. So there is a locking tailgate there, and you'll see mine is now dampened. I added this. This is a DZ dampener for a tailgate. It comes with the brackets. Basically pop that out. You need a T50 Torx and a 6mm Allen head. Those are all tools you need. You take that out, you put the plate in, hook the shock to it. Down here you'll take the bolts out for your back hinge and install their plate, hook the shock to that, and that's it. They give you new flush mount bolts that go recess inside the bracket, and that's it. Now you have a dampened tailgate. $30, no problems. Works great. And you can see here that ugly chrome Ford emblem in the back that we're going to get rid of. I'm either going to take this one off. The camera's in this, so that's why it kind of sticks out so far on the Ford in the back. So you can't like delete it or anything. But I'm thinking I'll take this one off. I may even just you can take these apart. I was thinking maybe take it apart and paint it like a matte black, or just get the Ford one that's already black. And then even the blue is black, but you just get the chrome Ford in the middle. Not sure yet which route I want to go, but definitely going to get rid of the two Ford chrome features, front and rear. And that's the only chrome on the truck. The rest of the truck comes a nice contrast of the, you know, kind of a gunmetal metallic gray trim and wheels and bumpers, and then you got the black trim pieces and the white paint. I really like the white. I was between this and the cactus gray, but they had this one in stock, and I really like it. So let's take you inside the truck. I'll kind of show you the back seat room first, and how the steps work. Steps work great on this truck. One thing I'll show you first, which you guys are gonna laugh. So here's your key. There's no passive entry, so you can't just stick your hand on the door handle or press a button to get in. You hit the unlock button, and then when you want to start the truck, yes, there is a key. I know some of these young guys are probably laughing, probably never seen a key before, but that's how all vehicles used to come. They still give you a key with the XLT. If you bump up to the Lariat package, if you really got to have push button start, the Lariat comes with the push button start. So that's just the nature of the beast, what it is. It doesn't bother me to use a key. If that's a deal breaker for you, get the Lariat. So you'll see here I got my son's booster seat in there. That's the leg room with me set up. I'm about 5'7", between 5'7" and 5'8". On a good day when I'm hanging from the machine there to stretch myself out. Maybe I'm close to 5'8", but typically I'm 5'7" these days. So that's how much leg room you got with somebody about 5'7", 5'8" driving, depending on how you like to drive, of course. So I'll get in, I'll show you how much leg room I got set up with the front seat set up for me driving. Now getting in and out with this with these steps are awesome. Right in, nice. You see you got the rubber floor mats in the back seat. You also get two charging ports. This is another huge thing for me. The Jeep Gladiator had charging ports in the rear. The Toyota Tacoma does not. And on road trips with the kids, that's going to be what you call constant complaining. You're going to want to leave your kids on the side of the road because their devices are going to die. They can't charge the battery. You know, you're trying to drive. You don't want to hear any complaining. This way here, they each got their own port. They can charge their stuff. You got an extra 110 outlet there. It's only 150 watts, but you can plug a laptop into that or whatever if you're traveling. You'll see, look at all the leg room I got here now. I am not by any means tall, but I got plenty of leg room. Like I said, I'm about 5'7", 5'7" and a half, let's call it. And it's set up for me driving. I can stretch my legs out. Plenty of room here. It's very comfortable. The seats here are more reclined angle. You can see here, the seats are more of a reclined angle in the back seat than some other mid-size back seat trucks and even full-size trucks. So you get a much more comfortable seating position in the rear. My daughter actually said it's much more comfortable back here than the Gladiator. And one of the other reasons too, I think, is the seat bottom itself, the base of the seat. So we'll fold these cup holders up and you can see the base of the seat is actually longer. So it comes out, you know, almost to the back of my knees. Usually, typically a back seat on a mid-size truck, it's a little bit shorter, you know. So you got the longer back seat here. It's a nice comfortable seating position. I mean, I myself could sit back here for 4, 5, 6 hours on a road trip, no problem. You got plenty of room. You got the charging ports, it makes it comfortable. So you'll see here we got the leather seats. On the passenger side you get the pocket, a little cubby here as well. The other thing you'll see, now this is unique to the Tremor as well, is these leather seats with the micro suede inserts in the center, so you don't really get all sweaty sitting right on the leather in the middle, and it kind of holds you planted. You don't slide on the seat. It's very nice. These seats, I would say, particularly the front ones, are the softest and plushest seats I've ever sat in, by far. At least in a mid-size truck. And most full-size trucks I've sat in, they're the most comfortable seats. So, as far as under-seat storage, you do get some. The problem is the whole back seat comes up, and you get 2 cubbies. You can't just split it. You can't open one side and leave the other side. So if you got somebody sitting the other side, they got to get out to pick the bottom of the seat up here on this side. That's the only downside. You see you got some nice big cubbies there to put some, you know, recovery gear, ratchet straps, you know, for when you're tying your stuff down in the bed. Hopping into the front, you'll see there's a little bit, couple other differences. So you see the door panels, you'll see the theme here, it's pretty much black on black. The only other color you have in the interior here is the front seats. You get the Tremor embroidered, and then again you get the micro suede inserts in the middle, all the rest of the leather trimmed. Okay, these are heated seats, not cooled, but you do get heated seats. On the XLT, I got the 302A package that comes with the heated seats and the sliding rear window and rear window defroster. So if you're in a cold climate, that's probably the package you want to go with. If you're going to go with the XLT. And you'll see the buttons here and the controls. Nothing fancy. It's very utilitarian, I would say, set up in the Ranger. It's not going to win any awards for best in show for interior design, but it's functional, it's comfortable, and it's got everything you need. The only other color besides the black and then that Tremor stitching is the door handles are kind of like, it's not chrome, it's kind of like a polished brushed nickel, so to speak. And then these here, these bezels are kind of like a tinted chrome almost, they appear, or like a nickel. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's not a true chrome where it's really bright and shiny. So you don't have that. So getting in, again, super easy. You got the all-weather floor mats in the front. Another thing you'll notice here is you have the upfitter switches. So the upfitter switches, the way they work with the Ranger, it's just similar to setup to the Ford Raptor. You get the uplifter switches in the Ford Raptor. It's the same setup. Let me pull this out a little bit in the sun, and then you can kind of get a better shot of the interior. It looks seems a little dark on camera. So firing it up, you see the gauges kind of come to life. I will tell you, I think I got 311 miles on it so far. I'm averaging 20 miles per gallon. So another big upside to the Ranger is the fuel mileage. This 2.3 liter EcoBoost really does it for the fuel mileage. It's great. So you see the upfitter switch here, you got 6 switches. They're all pre-wired under the hood. What I mean when I say they're pre-wired is you don't have to run relays, you don't have to hook up fuses, you don't have to do nothing. There's a box under the hood on the driver's side with all the relays and the fuses in it, and then you have just pigtails that coming out the bottom. They're kind of taped together, and what you're going to get with that is an opportunity to run accessories such as, let's say you want to put an onboard compressor. You're off-road and you want to lower, drop your air pressure down and air back up. You just hook them up to one of these auxiliary switches, flip the switch, and boom, you're good to go. When you do that, these switches have different options as far as watt amps. So some of these switches are only just 5 amp, so it's good for some, you know, accessory ditch lights, say, or something like that. You want to pick up a bigger light bar. There's like a 10 amp one, and then there's a couple 20s and a 25 amp. So depending on what you're hooking up, you get someone to read your owner's manual and see which switch has which amperage setup, so you know which one you want to hook up that particular accessory to, so you have enough power. Interior, like I said, it's pretty utilitarian. It's pretty basic. I would say the one drawback for me is I don't like the design of the steering wheel. I think it's just you know, it's a small steering wheel, but it's got a pretty robust, you know, grab to it. It's not thin. It's leather wrapped. It's part of the 302A package as well. You'll see the contrast stitching in it. And then you have all your audio controls. These controls here are for your center stack. And then, you know, there's tons of stuff there. You can do 2 different trips. So I'm on trip 1. If you scroll down, there's distance to empty, trip odometer. That's from when I reset it, when I first got it. And I was just about left the dealership a couple miles in. I reset the trip 1 just so I can calculate how many mile MPGs I'm getting since I bought it. And then obviously we're sitting here idle and dropped down to 19.9. But so since I left the dealer, I didn't reset it right away. I reset it a couple miles in. I bought the truck with 16 miles on it. So it's got 287 right now, averaging 19.9. Brand new truck. That is terrific. And I will tell you, I was averaging more than that, but my brother took it for a test drive yesterday and drove it like he drives his Super. So he actually dropped the MPGs down a couple. He was really getting on it. And you have a bunch of other settings. You have your driver assist stuff. You got blind spot, rear cross traffic alert. So when you're in reverse, you got your lines there. You'll see on the camera. And then when you turn, it'll turn, show you where your wheels are going. And then you'll see here, it'll show you your blind spots. If somebody's coming, if you're backing up out of spot, somebody's coming out behind you with the driver's side, it'll blink some arrows here and beep. So it'll tell you somebody's behind you. When you're backing up and loading your trailer, you can also zoom the camera into the trailer and the ball. That's a nice feature as well. A lot of other mid-size trucks don't have that. So you got the parking aid there. Then you get your driver alerts, settings, lane keeping assist. I'm not really a fan. I have it set to just alert only, so it'll just beep at you if you're drifting out of your lanes. You also have alert and aid. It's not aid where it's going to pull you back into the lane, but it'll kind of give you a haptic feedback on the steering wheel. And then you set your intensity, your sensitivity. So pre-collision, it's got active braking, so it will stop. It will hit the brakes if you're going to rear end somebody. I don't suggest testing it, but that's what it says it does. So it gives you a lot. You know, you got a lot of goodies there. You got tow haul mode. You got the heated seats, like I said, and your AC. You got auto dual climate control, so you can set to one side or the other right here, or you can also set them up on the screen. But on the screen here, I go up to climate. I can set everything right there as well. All right. If you click it on dual, then you can set each side individually. So it's nice. It's the stereo is not the high-end stereo. You don't have that option in the XLT. It's just the base stereo, 6-speaker design with the Sync 3 system. So Sync 3 system does work pretty flawless. I haven't had any issues with it. It's very smooth. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all works very good and smooth and flawlessly. It's not wireless, but you do have to plug it in, and 2 plugs are right down there. You can have 2 phones attached. You have 2 additional 12 volts here. You have some audio controls right here as well, so you can pause, fast forward, rewind, or switch channels. All your audio controls also are on your steering wheel. Down here you have all your off-road goodies. So this is another thing that comes with the Tremor. So you have your trailer tow pack, trailer tow. You can set that up. When you set your trailer tow, the other thing about that is this truck has blind spot monitoring. So in other words, if somebody's next to you in your blind spot, you got the little light that'll blink amber there on the mirrors. So when you hook up a trailer, on your center stack, it'll come up. It'll give you the opportunity to put in how many foot trailer you have attached, so that'll calibrate the blind spot monitoring in your mirrors. So it'll also calculate if somebody's alongside you near your trailer. Now I forgot I left these seats on, and I can tell you they're cooking. so they work well. So down here beside your trailer tow haul mode, you can turn your traction control on and off, and then you can turn your auto stop start on and off. This is this button here is like an off-road cruise control, so it's basically the same thing as the crawl control in the Toyotas that you guys have all heard about, I'm sure. It works the same way. You turn that on, and then you can set the speed with using your cruise control up and down settings on your steering wheel. And the difference with the Ford one is you can actually set the crawl control in 4 high, 4 low, and 2 wheel high, and then you can set it up to 20 miles an hour. Whereas in the Toyota, it's only 4 low, and it goes from increments from like 1 to 5 miles per hour. You also have a rear locking differential, which you can turn on. And then here, you'll see your 4-wheel drive switch. You know, you have your 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. You also have trail management. So what that is, that's basically like, so click your trail management, and then it'll give you your options. You got normal mode. Hit it again, you go to grass, gravel, and snow. It'll tell you need to be in 4 high. Mud and ruts, and sand. So we're in normal mode now. In normal mode, it'll automatically switch you back to 2 high. When those other modes, and it was blinking 4-wheel drive on the dash, it automatically puts you in 4 high. So you kind of can't make a mistake there. So that's a nice feature. One thing I will tell you is this here does not light up at night. There's no lighting for the car. This is just painted. It's just white paint. So that doesn't light up, but everything tells you right there. You're looking at your gauge cluster anyway. You can also bring up your gears, like if you're driving. Say I'm in drive, and I want to show what you can. If you can hit this up, the plus button, and it'll show you what gear you're in. It'll stay like that on the screen, right here. It'll show you first to 10th and how it's shifting, so you can kind of monitor. If you put it in tow haul mode, obviously it's going to change the shift dynamics and all that stuff. And then another mode you could put it in here also is, you'll see there is an S mode, and that is basically like you put that down in S mode. It's still going to shift for you automatically. It's still going to work like an automatic transmission. You don't have to shift it. But what it's going to do is it's going to hold gears longer. It's going to shift more aggressively. So if you really want to drive like a sports car or drag race it, let's say, you want to put it in sports mode, it's going to rev it out more. It's going to hold gears longer, you know, slowing down rather than dropping down so much. It's not as much for fuel economy as, say, regular drive mode is. And then you can also, if you have in tow haul mode, you can lock out gears also. If you hit the down button, you can lock out, let's say you want to lock out the 9 and 10, gears 9 and 10, which are overdrive gears, and just have it go to a maximum of 8. You can do that, and it'll just never upshift past 8th gear or 7th gear, however you set it. So there's a lot of drive mode options here, which is nice. And from my understanding and everything I've seen, is this thing tows and hauls best in class as far as mid-sized trucks go. So that's kind of a rundown of all the interior features. You see you got a cubby here in the front where your charging ports are, which is a little awkward kind of, because the charging ports are right there. So when you have a wire in it, it's kind of like right in the middle of it. It's kind of a weird design. But I'll show you, to give you an example for the size. This here's a Google Pixel 4. It's not the XL, it's just a standard size Pixel 4. I put it in here. It'll fit flat. You can also pull it out. You can stand it up. You know, you can put it over here. So kind of give you a idea how much room you got here. You can. Sometimes during the week when I have my work phone with me as well, I can put both phones in there, my wallet, and all kinds of other stuff. There's plenty of room. And it's a pretty big cubby hole. It's deceiving looking. Center console, they do not give you a tray. I bought that on Amazon as well. It was like $12. And then you got your, it's fairly deep. Okay, so it's kind of a rundown of the interior. Let's get outside the truck again, and then I'll kind of show you. Let's get back in the shade because I don't want to cook. It's 105 degrees here today, and Joe doesn't want to be sweating his rear end off walking around the truck. So let's get out here. We'll do a little walk around. I'll explain to you why I got this truck, why we got rid of the Jeep, and then kind of give you my thoughts. I'll show you too here. I got the window sticker with me. I'll show you pricing. So basically for what I got here, let me pull this key out. That's one thing that is annoying. It'll keep yelling at you if you leave the key in the ignition. So you'll see that's what they're telling you. Fuel mileage should be 19 and 19. I'm already averaging 20, so I'm already beating that. And that's with about 50-50 highway driving, because I drove home with 147 miles from the dealership, and then I've been driving all stop and go since around town. So that's what Nick's driving. You'll see here the options on standard Ranger, and then you'll see up here it's 2022 Super Crew 4x4 5-foot box. It's actually 5'1" long. I measured it. We'll get into a little bit of the specs on the bed as well. Oxford white, and then your ebony seats with the micro suede inserts. XLT series 302A group is $24.50. The XLT series here, you get the 110 power outlet in the back, backup sensors, sliding rear window and defroster, and remote start. Remote start works flawlessly in this. You can also remote start it from the Ford app on your phone, or lock it and unlock it. Let's say you go in a store and you forgot to lock you're not sure if you remember to lock your truck. You can lock it right from the app on your phone. Works good. Then you get the optional equipment here. You get the Tremor package. Comes with the 265 7017 all-terrain tires. You saw those. The whole total package is $42.90, but for everything you get, it's got trail control system. I didn't show you that as well. So it's got a trailer sway control. So when you hook up your trailer, it'll kind of prevent it from swaying. If it senses it's swaying, it'll auto apply the brakes on the trailer to stop the sway. So that's a nice feature. It's got the skid plates I showed you. Heavy duty off-road Fox suspension, off-road hoop steps, which is what I showed you already. Electronic rear diff. Rubber all-weather floor liners. They also give you the carpet floor mats. I don't know why you need both unless you want to swap them out. If you want to go on a hot date and put your carpet floor mats in to look more fancy, you could do that, I suppose. But I don't feel the need for those. So they're sitting in my garage. And then you got the trailer tow package, which is $495. Now, Ford has this regional, I don't know what this is, the 4x4 regional discount package, but if you scroll over here to the summary for the cost, you have your total vehicle and options, $42,660. Destination deliveries from Ford, that's on every vehicle, $14.95. Brings you up to $44,155. $250 discount. So you for a total savings of $250, $43,905. That's what I paid, sticker price. No markup here from this dealer. It was the last one they had. They have 2 more coming in, but I paid sticker. TRD Pros, almost every other dealer for Toyota is charging 5 to 10. One dealer told me they wanted $15,000 markup. I laughed and hung up the phone because I did call around for some TRD Pros. Now, I can get one at sticker, but I'm gonna have to wait for one to get allocated if I wanted it. And as much as I love the TRD Pro Tacomas, I decided to go with this because I didn't want my affection for the Toyota brand and my love for the Tacomas and how they look, and just in a, I don't know, it's kind of like the culture of having a Toyota and a Tacoma to get in the way and blind me from the fact that this is a much more affordable truck. It's got pretty much all the options that I need, especially for the off-roading goes. It's got better tires from the factory than the TRD Pro tires come with, or the TRD Off-Road. It's got a nice set of wheels. I do love the TRD Pro wheels though. And the main reason is power. This has 310 foot-pounds of torque from the factory, 270 horsepower. I will tell you, I've driven the Colorado, I've driven obviously this Ranger, I've driven many Tacomas, I've had several of them. This is by far the fastest midsize truck. There are numerous drag races on YouTube of this truck versus a Tacoma, and this thing smokes it. It's not even close. So not that I'm drag racing the truck, but when it comes to towing and hauling my trailer and carrying the toys and going on road trips with, you know, all that, some stuff in the bed and the trailer, this is going to pull it much easier, better fuel mileage while doing it. It's got 10-speed transmission. This 10-speed transmission is the same 10-speed that they put in F-150s, so it's way overbuilt for this little Ford Ranger. So it's going to have zero issues with that. The 2.3 liter EcoBoost is a very reliable platform. I know there's a lot of talk on the internet about Ford reliability issues and what have you. That's mostly with the 3.5 liter that had some issues, and a few issues lately with the 2.7s in the Broncos. But that, from what I understand, on those Broncos is just a bad batch of push rods that has affected a minimal amount of trucks. That was a supplier issue. But these 2.3s have been around for a long time. They're very durable, reliable motors, and, well documented to last a few 100,000 miles. So I don't have any reliability concerns with this truck. The Ranger has a pretty good history It's only come out in the United States in 2019, but it's been out all around the world since about 2015, 2016. So it's got a pretty good reputation for reliability already, so I wasn't really concerned there. I did look at it was between this, waiting on a TRD Pro. I knew I wanted to get rid of the Mojave, and I'll get into why in a minute. Or so TRD Pro Tacoma, ZR2 Colorado, and looked at, I almost bought one. I was inches away from or something. So I came across the Ford Ranger Tremor. I had never seen one in person before. I saw a couple photos. I never even knew the Tremor package existed on the Ranger yet. I don't know why. I just never paid attention. I don't really pay too much attention to Fords. I've never owned another Ford truck other than an F-150 brand new back in 2005. So I haven't owned a Ford since. So I never really looked into it. And then when I got to looking into it, I realized it comes with a lot. It comes with the Fox suspension, you know, everything I pointed out to you guys. So contacted a salesman who was recommended on the Tremor Facebook page. And he wasn't even at work. This guy, Ryan, was great at Sanderson Ford. He basically put the deal, he took all my information through messaging on Facebook, private messaged him. He's like, I go into work at noon, I'll get everything put together, send you the numbers. If you're okay with it, you can come in, test drive it. If you want it, the truck's yours. So I went ahead and did that. He gave me, as promised, you know, about by 1 o'clock, I had everything paperwork-wise sent to me. And I liked the deal. I took my wife and my son up to Phoenix, down here. I'm down here near Tucson, and we test drove it. We all liked the truck. It drives beautiful, and so I did the deal. Now I saved, besides, so the first factor is I saved a ton of money from the Mojave. One of the things with the Jeep Mojave is, and a Jeep Gladiator in general, if you get the higher models like a Mojave or a Rubicon, you're going to pay mid-50s to over $60,000 for it. Now, it's a mid-sized truck. I understand what it is, but it's still crazy to me to pay that kind of money for a mid-sized truck. It bothered me, the payment I was making on that thing, to be honest with you, for what I'm doing with it. So they hold their values great, which is nice, like Toyota in that regard. So I didn't lose any money on it. They gave me $53,500 for the truck, which is what I paid for it. I didn't pay sticker when I bought it. So they gave me what I paid for it, so I was out of it free and clear. I paid sticker on this, and I had some equity on the Gladiator. So I'm into this truck for like $41,000 right now. So my payment dropped $120 a month. So that's one huge plus. And I have just as much truck. I'm not going rock crawling. You're not doing that in a big Jeep Gladiator anyway, because the breakover angle and the departure angle on those things is crazy. This actually has a better breakover angle and better departure angle than the Gladiator and the Tacoma, which are the top off-road performers. The only thing the Tremor has just about the same as a TRD off-road approach angle. If I do the 1-inch lift on the front, it'll be equivalent to like a TRD Pro. So for the 22 TRD Pros, they have a slight lift, not the 21s and older. So that was a major thing for me, saving some money, and still getting a quality truck. The truck's powerful, it's fast, it gets great gas mileage. The main reason I wanted to get rid of the Jeep was, like I said, I do a lot of road trips, and driving the truck around town, doing local errands, keeping it local, you know, under 50 miles an hour. Truck drive's awesome. You get it on the freeway, and if there's a slight cross breeze, it still acts like a Jeep. It's not as bad as a Wrangler, say, but for example, if you guys watched that video I did on the 2,000-mile road trip review, I did mention that, you know, the wind was a factor. It kills the gas mileage if you get to a little bit of wind. I could have averaged much better MPGs in that truck had it not be a box in the wind and had a little bit of aerodynamics. So MPGs aside, when you're driving the truck 5, 6, 7, 8 hours on a road trip and you get into a little bit of wind, the last thing you want to be doing is two-hand on a steering wheel fighting the truck for several hours. It's exhausting. Besides that, sometimes you drive and you got music on, it's playing, you have multiple people in the vehicle, you're talking. When you're on the freeway at 70 miles an hour and up in that Gladiator, all you hear is wind. And it's not because there's leaks or the gaskets are bad or it's a poor design. It's a very well solid built truck. I'm not knocking it at all. It just is what it is. You know, it's a Jeep. So what's happening is the roof panels are fiberglass, they're thin. I even had the headliner kit. But you hear the outside noise, the wind whipping past the truck. It's loud. And it gets obnoxious after you're driving on the highway for a long time. And that just got old with me. I do a lot of, like I said, freeway road trips, and it just got old. I was tired of, I knew that after owning it for several months, this is something that's annoying me now. It's only going to be worse, make me feel worse, you know, several months from now. So I said, let's get rid of it now before we lose any money on it. And I still only have minimal mileage, and I got what I paid for it, so it worked out. I'm more than happy with this truck. Another benefit of this truck here too is I talked about the bed size before. It's 1 inch longer. The depth of the bed is a little deeper. Now some people critique that, but you're not using the truck for a truck then, so you can't reach down from the sides. The bed sides are high. Same thing with the Colorado. And the reason for that is you got a deeper bed. So you see the height of the tailgate here. The bed's deeper than on a Gladiator. Now, if I open the bed here and show you, from the bottom of the bed to the top here, it's 21 inches deep. We measured it the other day. My brother still has his Gladiator Mojave, so we measured that. So you're talking 21 inches deep. Now, if you have a tonneau cover on your truck, you guys got to think, you have a tonneau cover on the truck. Let's say you go to Costco, you got some big boxes where you go buy something, you want to slide it in there, it's raining, but now the box is a little bulky, you can't fit it. The Gladiator bed is short. The Tacoma bed's the same way. It's 17 inches. You can't fit some stuff in there with the tonneau cover on. So now you got to roll the tonneau cover back, and now your car is exposed. With this deeper bed design, it may be a flaw reaching over the sides, but you just open your tailgate and hop in if you need to get something out. And most of you guys that are complaining about the bed sides, you're lifting the truck anyway, and then at that point you still can't reach over the bed side. So it's a moot point. But you got more cargo space here. You got more availability with a tonneau cover on it to keep stuff in there dry without having to keep the cover open. So that's an added benefit. We're going to do the spring and bed liner, we'll do the tonneau cover, and this thing will be good to go. Probably need to do a similar tonneau cover to what I had on the Jeep, because I really like that, and it's affordable. It's not expensive at all. It goes on and off in 5 minutes. So when I want to load the quad in there, I can just take the thing off altogether. 2 seconds, done. So that's pretty much it here. That kind of wraps up the video. I hope you guys stuck around to the end here. I appreciate it. 48 minutes we've been rambling about this truck, but I wanted to make sure it was detailed, give you the thorough explanation of why I got rid of the Jeep and why I got this, and why maybe you should consider this truck too. It's a good truck. I'm thoroughly enjoying driving it, and I'm going to do a couple mods to it, and I think it'll stick around for a while. Well, definitely a lot longer than the past few trucks I've had. I think if this truck doesn't fit my needs, the Tacoma definitely won't, because it doesn't tow as much, and that would be my other option. The ZR2 only tows 5,000 pounds, so at towing 4,500 pounds, which is the max I really tow, you're pushing the limits there. This truck tows 7,500 pounds, so 4,500 pounds is nothing for it. So that's my reasoning. If you guys agree or not, that's fine. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. But leave your comment below. Tell me what you think. Did I make a big mistake? Do you have a Ford Ranger Tremor, and what's your experience with it? Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys sticking around. I appreciate you watching another video. Hopefully this content is helpful for somebody who's looking to buy this truck, or compare it to a Gladiator even. And smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Plenty more content coming. I got some stuff coming up on the RMAX 1000, the Yamaha RMAX 1000 side-by-side. If you're interested in that stuff too, we don't just do trucks. Like we said in the title, it's trucks, ATVs, and side-by-sides. We've got everything to do with off-roading here, including towing. So stick around to the channel. This channel is not built around one specific vehicle. It's built around a lifestyle. So if you like the content, like what you see, consider subscribing. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys have stuck around since day one through all the changes the channel has made. I can't express to you how much I appreciate it. So again, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.